All right, once again, you found us on YouTube. Thanks for doing so. I'm meteorologist John Dawson. This is the Fox 26 tropical update just for YouTube. We get to take a little bit of time, dive into things a little bit, and discuss what's happening out there. There's just never enough time in a newscast to really talk about a good discussion of the tropics. And we'll start with the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, because that's where things are quiet. It won't take very long to really cover what's happening there. We do continue to see some tropical type moisture or Gulf moisture that's moving in on the coasts of, and really even in the central portions of the state of Texas. But overall, the Gulf of Mexico is quiet. The Caribbean's still dealing with those wind shear, those upper level winds that are not helpful when we're looking at the tropical cyclone formation. Not complaining about that for sure, but that's, again, one of the reasons why I think that we've seen some quiet activity. It's been quiet in the Caribbean. And of course, we've been dealing with quite a bit of that Saharan dust for a while. That's beginning to settle, or at least a little less of it overall, but there is a couple tropical waves out in the Atlantic that we're looking at. We'll start with the furthest one out that's basically on the coast of Africa, and next 5 days, about a 40% chance that this would want to develop into something. So it's a little less of a concern at the moment, primarily just because it's so far out, but also because it does have a little bit of a less probability, at least, of developing. And then when we get a little bit closer in towards the Caribbean, and you'll notice though that this takes a little bit of a northeasterly track, we are expecting most likely this to become a tropical depression or possibly even a tropical storm, and maybe even more than that when we look at a longer range forecast. But over the next 5 days, about an 80% chance that this would develop into a tropical cyclone within this red shaded area here. And you'll notice though that trend does take it a little bit north in the higher in the latitudes, and that northeasterly track is sort of going to begin to take it out of the zone in which it would be likely to end up in the Gulf of Mexico. So it looks like this would be something more that the east coast of the U.S. would be watching closer. But I'll show you one of those computer models, and we'll get a little bit of a closer look at what we're talking about in the fact that it does look like, though, interaction with some larger wind patterns or a front would actually push it even further away. So again, this is where we're currently looking at things. Kind of keep an eye as I transition to that model here, that sort of cluster of the clouds that are, with our visible satellite you can see. And you can see now with our computer modeling, this is going to be the GFS model. This is where that same area is, and as we continue through time, that heavier rain continues to show where that wave would develop. Possibly you could see that closed circulation here where it would possibly develop into a tropical cyclone. So this is going to be Labor Day where we are right now, and again we're a bit of a stretch here with any of our computer models trying to pick up on something that's not already a closed circulation. But this again is something that the GFS is picking up on, and looking again like if you're on the East Coast, you would be a little bit concerned with the way this is beginning to head. But once we get past Monday, you'll notice it takes that curve and it begins to head out into the Atlantic. Typically as those fronts that are kind of beginning to come through this time of the year, helping to direct that a little bit. So at the moment, all indications, the most favorable spot that's expected to turn into a tropical cyclone, all indications are that it would stay out in the Atlantic. So that is good news. We like to see those storms that stay out into the Atlantic. And as we've been talking about, those expectations of more activity in August, which just hasn't happened. We've had a very quiet August. The entire hurricane season hasn't been that far off from expectations as far as what a normal season would look like. But usually we get to August and we start really going through the names, and we just didn't do that here this year. We're about to get to September the 1st. We're still expecting to see that activity pick up a little bit. And we've definitely seen the Atlantic come to life a little bit within the last week or so. But it's just not quite as busy as what we would have expected to see, especially this season with that higher than average season expected overall. Glad you've again found us here on YouTube. Don't forget about the Fox 26 weather app. And while you've got your smartphone out, go ahead and punch in at John Dawson Fox 26. I'd like to connect with you on social media. Twitter and Facebook, of course, would be great. Instagram is where I'd really like to be able to make that connection, talking about those hurricane preparedness a little bit. So if you get a chance, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we will see you back here tomorrow afternoon with our next Fox 26 Tropical Update.